This is Running Free with JH. What is a priority in your life? Is your priority your kids, family, your job you go to, getting the money you need to make the next program, graduating high school, taking that college exam, getting to that interview, studying for it? What is a priority to you? I believe this one idea separates people from the very top of the spear to the very bottom where people think you're lazy, you're incompetent, or whatever. So this wide spectrum, you either can't do something or you can do something. I think what separates the people that are great, great, greats, and the people that are stumbling along, like me over the years, is the word and work ethic of priority. Because there are times in our lives where we need something done, and you make it a priority. You need to make you can't make the bill for electric. You're about to have a shut off. I need to make that car payment. I need to make sure I get to the work on time. You make it a priority to get up a little earlier. You don't like it, but it becomes a priority in your mind where you get it done. I know for me over the years, I have not made a priority in my life to this running. And a lot of you probably have done the same. You want to make it. It would be a dream to make the Olympic team, to maybe run for money when it comes to prize purses. You might be even be an elite out there right now who is putting all your effort into it. But the question I ask is, are you really putting the effort in there? Are you really doing it? The reason I bring it up because I've had to ask myself, this question, the self, which I call myself the self. I'd ask that same question, and the answer I had to give it after a long, long process is no, I was not giving the priority of the job, my regular day job, which is why I don't have that job anymore. I wasn't giving the priority of the relationship I was in, which is why I don't have those girlfriends anymore. There's some of the girls over the years I've dated where they were probably one of the best things that could happen to me. And I didn't make them the priority of the relationship. When they call, I didn't answer. Or when they needed something that was important, I didn't listen. Or the worst yet, you didn't go out of your way to do something nice for them just so you could show them you care. I am guilty of those. And on the flip side, I didn't make it a priority to keep myself in the military. If I wanted to stay in the military, it is actually my fault I am not in anymore. As much as I want to complain, moan, and really scream that it's not my fault, what could I have done differently? I could have reached out to more people. I could have put more effort into things. I could have started from the very beginning of day one of boot camp and gone through the whole process all those years and made myself unbreakable, or as I like to call it, un, unfireable, basically. Made myself so important that people are like, we don't want to get rid of you, and we'll do whatever we can to keep you. I didn't make it a priority. And now that I've come to the part of my life where I'm trying to turn it around, I got really out of control this past summer and a couple years before that, and a couple years before that. I went through two rehabs, and when you start doing stuff that causes you to be totally not there because your substance is clouding your head, it's not a good thing. I made a priority in my life to be totally invested in high as hell. That's kind of what I did. Name your drug: alcohol, cocaine, crack, heroin. Or maybe your drug of choice is not one of those. It's something else that's like not a chemical, but maybe it's work. You take work over everything. Or maybe your drug is to be I have to be smarter than everybody else. So you are priority to do something better than everybody else on something else that drives other people nuts. I know that goes off a little bit on it, but for me, I made a priority of things because I was selfish and self-centered. That's what I did. Looking back in my life, I understand where I went wrong at places. Sometimes when I was trying to make sure things didn't happen to me, because my childhood was pretty jacked up in a lot of ways. It was. Some people might say it wasn't, but just like you had things happen to your life that most people don't know about, just like me. I've had some things happen that when I start talking about it, people are so shocked to hear. And I made it a priority to play the victim card. I did. And what did it get me? I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, what do I do going forward? No idea, no clue. I'm going through my head trying to figure out what to go for. I know what I don't want, which is a good thing. I know I do not want to keep going the same direction I'm going when it comes to how I'm living my day-to-day life. That's something I do know. The suicide thing can't happen anymore. I've been on that edge for many, many times. Between the car accidents, the guns, the hangings, the overdoses, you name it, I've found a plan for it. But if I really truly, truly want to live this life, what will my priorities be going forward? That's something I had to struggle with this past summer, which is summer 2018, when it was my most recent stint in rehab, when I actually went there myself, checked myself in, and said, okay, I know I need help. I don't have a plan for my life. What do I do? And it sucks to say this, but a lot of rehab is basically working on yourself as you can do in your house. It's basically sometimes they put you in a room and you just have to think. You can write things, write a letter to yourself, and it sucks because there's no interaction with people. You might get in a group, but then sometimes you start feeling, wait a minute, you're all more crazier than I am. I know I felt that a lot. There were times where I thought people were in a better place than I was, that people were definitely crazier than I was, or psychotic, or whatever the word you want to use. I found myself in that position. But then it took me to after getting out and actually being on my own for months later, realizing I made a priority of playing the victim. I made it a priority in my life, all these other things to make sure it happened. I made sure I got sleep every night. That was always a priority. I would actually leave places early because I said I need sleep. I always made sure I had sleep every single night, or at least if I'm not having good sleep a couple nights, I make sure I'm going to bed early. Sorry, I'm leaving, and do it. That was a priority for me. I hate being late for things. I do not like being late for things, and I make it a priority to get there early. I always do that. So no matter what's going on, I make sure that happens. And I know a lot of you out there probably really suck at it when it comes to priorities. And there's other priorities that are definitely easy for you to come by. Like if you have a job and you actually get on time, or you have kids, family, responsibilities, something in your life you actually have priorities for, and you make it a priority. But sometimes it comes to working out, I don't know how many times I've seen this. I've seen it a lot where people say I don't have time to work out, and I say, bull, you have plenty of time. What is a priority to you? And you might sit there and yell at me right now and yell at these listening words to hear this from me, but you do have time to work out. You do have time to eat healthy, go to the grocery store. You do have time to learn how to eat healthy. I mean, I loved when Zig Ziglar, I think it was Zig Ziglar, you talk about Automobile University and you talk about it in your car, you're learning something. We have a phone now where you can have a Bluetooth your car or headphones or whatever you want to do, and you can put YouTube on podcast, whatever, and you can get the information to help you get better. You might have a little time, but you can plan your day. If you plan your day, even if it's just one thing, I said from this time to this time, if it's 30 minutes, an hour, I'm gonna do such and such. It's gonna get me to a better place. That's how I started my priorities. I said, okay, how do I gotta do this? So each day I have things I have to accomplish. Like earlier today, I had to go to the grocery store and get some things. I had to plan that out to make sure I did it. And not just go off the top of my head, I need this, and that. No, I actually wrote it down and then reminded myself. So that way, when I went there, I got the items on my list, so I didn't forget anything. I know I had to have it at a certain time because that's the time I was available. I mean, when you work a job, you got to actually make sure you go to the store at a certain time. And if you want to go at a certain later time, because I noticed if you go early in the morning or late at night to the grocery store, you definitely get less people there. And it's a lot easier to get through and quick instead of having a lot of people there during some hours of the day, and then you go to the line to cash out and it's a line. I've gone to the grocery stores at 6 in the morning right when they open, and it's amazing how quickly I get in and get out. It's awesome. It's so awesome. Now, how do I bring this back to priorities, and why do I bring this up today? I bring it up today because I had to make a decision back in September. Remember, September 1st, I made a decision. I ran for the first time August 31st, basically. But September 1st, I made a decision. And I said, I'm going to do this every day. No matter what, I'm going to run and work out every single morning. I'm going to get healthy. I'm actually going to eat healthy and do whatever I need to do. I said, that's going to be my priority, number one of everything. I'm going to make sure I get my body in check. As you see through my Instagram posts from late summer of 2018, as you see, it wasn't pretty. I was overweight and could not run a mile under 8 minutes or 9 minutes if I like depended on it. That just couldn't happen. But each day, my priority was I got up. First thing I do in the morning, stretch, work out, run, cool down, shower, bam, start my day. Every single morning. That is my priority, like clockwork. No matter where I'm at. If I go somewhere else, stay over someone's house. If I'm on a trip somewhere else, I take my stuff with me. I plan it out where I'm going. The routes I'm going to be running, where I'm going, I plan it out ahead of time. Day, 2, 3 weeks, whatever. If I have weights I have to do, I take them with me. Yes, if I'm on a plane, I will pay the extra money for the weight that I'm bringing with me because it's a priority to me. Now, a big priority of how this is going down, even now as we talk, is my job has changed jobs here. I'm in a different department, and that's causing me to have to go to work very early in the morning. And I had two choices. I could do workout before work or after work. And yes, this is a choice. It's definitely a choice. And I made the choice. I do better getting up and going. For some reason, my body works better. When I've tried to do workouts in the afternoon that are top notch, I can get into them. I just don't feel as good for some reason. I don't know why. And that just could be because you're sitting all day at office, you're not moving the blood. Maybe after an hour and you get your blood flowing, but I wake up, I just go. It feels more natural to me. So I decided that my day will start at 1 in the morning and get everything I need to do done for the workout, for the run, and then I'll be at work on time. Which means, yes, the priority is sleep, definitely. And now I'm going to be getting up early, which means I have to go to bed early. I'm talking sometimes at 6 p.m. at night, which is crazy to think about, but this is the priority. And why is this a priority? Because I want to do something with this running. I can't figure out. I have a hard time. I'm having this. I don't know what to do with my life. I am mid 30s now. Still have no idea what to do with my life. But the only thing that makes sense is when I run, I feel alive. I'm working out. I'm stretching. I'm running. I'm doing stuff like that. That makes sense to me. And I kept hearing the Gary V podcast. Do you do you? Whatever you do, can you do it better? Can you be the best at it? And can you make money off it? I do know, obviously, we all know runners out there who are professional runners. They do make stuff out there. It's out there. I have never been that one. I was never a college athlete. I was a high school athlete, but not the best. Not even in the mid range. I was like on the end of the pile. But one thing if you think about the greats, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, you got the Tom Brady in the football. You got Wayne Gretzky in hockey. What do they all have in common? They made their passion their number one priority over everything else. And the more I keep hearing about, and the more I keep reading about these greats, no matter it be a sport or the great people who are professors or the people who are lecturers, name your thing. If it's something that's athletic, something has to do with playing music, something has to do with movies, TV, I mean, name it, whatever it is, scientists, explorers, whatever it is, they took whatever they had and they put all the energy. That was their priority over everything else. That was what happens when you get a kid and a kid comes out and now you're a new parent. That becomes your priority. Everything changes around. But the most incredible thing that's happened since I did make this a priority to me, I've seen things change. I'm looking at the world in a different way. I'm seeing a lot of people who at work who complain, they moan, they just do all these things and they say all these things that don't make sense to me anymore because they're talking about where they're at. They want specific and quick fixes to their life for that moment in time. They're not planning for the future. I don't understand why people don't plan for the future. I try to plan my futures out, and I did a lot of mistakes along the way. But the one thing I have done good is when I go after something over the years, college, the military, getting out of homelessness, go through rehab. There's a bunch of stuff. I don't know if I want to talk about it just yet, but a lot of stuff I've gone through, I made a number one priority and I went after it. Like right now, I'm about to take a state board license exam in a few hours, and so in the past week and a half, I went from not knowing the material at all to being top of the class. Isn't that crazy? All I did was make this a priority. Yeah, my running is a priority, but you can't want to work out for 24 hours a day. So what do you do with the rest of the time? So the time I had, because it's my part of my new job, I have to be licensed for this position. I now made a priority to make this test count, which means I have to pass it. Not only have to pass it, I make sure I ace it. Because I do believe in if you shoot for the stars and hit the moon, you're doing great. Because most people are shooting for the moon. But if you shoot beyond the moon, like another example is, say you want to run a 3 hour marathon or an hour and a half mile. That's like people's goals, or 2 hour, whatever it is, right? Shoot beyond that. Say a 3 hour marathon. Say, no, I'm shooting for 2:30, 2:50, 2:45. We're going past that 3 hour. We're going past it. Because now you're going to go, your direction is going further out there. Your dream is bigger. And I found for me, it pulls me in that direction. I can't stop. I can't sit there and dig my heels in. I just keep getting pushed and pulled that direction further. And the more I make it a priority, the more it seeps in my brain. Keep going. You got this. And now, as I am about to embark on the test here tonight, I feel so confident that I'm going to pass it. Will I be top of the person making the exam this week or ever? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Do I care? Kind of. But the thing is, I can walk in there and not worry about because I know it's a 2 hour exam. And all the prep I've done, I can now do it under 2 hours and I'm not in a panic mode. You know, some people go into tests and they go, I'm nervous. I think it's because they think they use much studying and they don't know the materials well. I'll get questions wrong. I know that. I'm going to take each question, think about it, and go with the answers I come up with. But the point I'm trying to make is when I make something the priority, I just notice things change and things get better for that thing I'm making a priority. And that's what's happening with the running. It happened 10 years ago when I ran my first marathon with San Antonio. And I remember I went from never running past 10 miles to almost less than a year later running my marathon, 6:25 mile pace. And the first 15 miles, I had a guy next to me. And I said, this pace feels so easy. And I'm at mile 15. And a year before, I couldn't even fathom running more than 10 miles. It was crazy. So I want to give you guys out there, whoever's listening to this, that you can do it. I know my priorities have changed, and your priorities will be a little different, whatever it is. But there are priorities in our lives that when you make them the center point, you'd be amazed at how much that thing that is a priority completely changes. It gets so much better. I like to encourage you that that's the one thing right now that is changing my life is I'll make a priority. Remember the what if episode I talked about? What if? What if instead of doing the what if game in the past, I do the what if game going forward? Because I asked myself that question right even during the podcast and even after the episode I finished. I said, what if I actually make it a priority and go forward and see what happens? Don't miss a day. Keep going every day. The days don't feel like it, still do it. I mean, I've had some days, don't get me wrong, since September where I'm like, I'm tired today. I don't want to do this right now, but I still do it. And those days have gone now. And now that day will come and go, right? And now we're on the other side where a week goes by, a month goes by, a year goes by. We just finished Christmas a couple weeks ago. Remember when Christmas was coming? And then all of a sudden now, Christmas was a few weeks ago now. We're already midway through January of 2019. It boggles my mind when you actually think about how time flies by. Those small moments of I don't want to call them weaknesses, but those small moments where you're like, oh, you gotta take your time, and those moments where you just want to stop, you want to change, whatever is going on, you gotta take a deep breath and remember why are you doing what you're doing? Why is it a priority of what you're taking on right now? That's all I'm doing is making things a priority in my life for this one thing. I can't sit here or walk here or do whatever unless I make it a priority going forward with my running. My running will never get better. I will never be an elite athlete. I will never be great at anything I do unless I make it a priority. And the only thing I actually do care about is the running. Sometimes I feel like running needs to be changed. The culture is a good culture to be a part of, but there's something off about the running community when it comes to the elite level. I'm not knocking anybody up there, but I just feel like something needs to be twisted and changed. The way we go about with our elites when it comes to sponsorships, when it comes to prize purses, comes about how we do things. You never hear from these elites um, about what they're going on in their daylights. I mean, when's the last time you heard of a meetup with an elite? I mean, maybe they're out there, but they're very few and far between. I think we should change the narrative of that. And I keep hearing from Joe Rogan. I like Joe Rogan's podcast. He says, "Be the hero of your own movie." If you don't see the change of what you want, you have to maybe do the change. Like when a company comes by and you got Amazon, you have Tesla, you got you name the company. Before them, something was going wrong, and then someone came up with an idea to change it. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I don't want to change anybody. I just know that I want to be a part of something better, and I want to move the focus. Because right now, our elite level when it comes to a lot of our running sports are dominated by other countries, which is fine, which is great that they're great people. But to bring American runners back, I'm making it a priority to see if I can contribute to this. And that's kind of what priorities do for me. Like I said, it keeps me laser focused. And I hope that some of you have things in your life that are a priority, whether it be a job, family, hobby, getting yourself better. I know, I tell you, when you fall down on your face and the last thing you want to do is start. I was 300 pounds at one point. Do you know the first time I went to the gym, I was like, how am I going to do this? You know how long it's going to take to do this? That's the first thing I thought of. It's going to take forever. Now, a decade has passed since I lost all that weight. It's gone. The time will come. The first day is always the hardest. So is second to third. But eventually you get momentum every single day. You can totally do it. What's your priority in your life? Is something there? If it's a priority, how is it a priority? Are you actually doing it? Are you actually continuing doing it? Did you do it for 6 months, a year? Sometimes you want to do something, and after a week, you don't want to do it anymore, which is fine. So you get your plane in midair, and you realize it's not the way you want to go, so you change directions. Great. But when's the last time you actually tried something and stuck with it for 6 months at least? You'd be amazed how much would change, whether it be your diet, work, family, yourself. I know for me, it's helped so much, and I'm not done. One day, I want to be an awesome runner. I want to be out there doing something I enjoy. I'm not the reincarnate of anybody else. I'm just me. But I know this is the only way to go forward is make it a priority. And that's how I'm going to get through this. So I encourage you all to try and see what is a priority in your life. And maybe we'll see you on the other side. You can tell me about it. And we can go from there. Um, I, it's almost a half hour. Hope I didn't ramble too much. But like I said, you can always find me at Running Free with JH, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, all the socials are out there. You can always email me at runningfreewithjh@gmail. Let's hear about your priorities, what you're changing, what you're not changing, why. Because the big thing by your priority, you have to know why you're doing it. I know my goal, world record in the half marathon. I'm very far from that. I'm not even in the low sixes yet per mile. So I'm far to go. But that's where I'm headed, where I want to go. But if I don't even try, I'll never know. So it's a priority for me, no matter what I do in life, day to day. That's my priority. You can do it too. And I just want to say before I go, when something doesn't work or you're having trouble, or you think you can't do something, remember, ask yourself, is this a priority for me? And if it's not, it's okay. You do you. Just like I hear all the time on these podcasts, you do you. Whatever is a priority for you, you make that decision. You don't have to be the runner if you don't want to be. You don't have to be that person who comes to work and is like always chipper. You can be the person who's always serious. That's you. That's you. Do it. But everybody has something that is important to them. Number one, find out what the number one is. Maybe you have two, three, four, five things that are priorities, and you mix them and match them, and you plan it out how it works. The only thing I'm trying to say with this whole thing is my life has changed because I made something a priority. And if I do it right as I move forward, my life will completely change in 2 years from now because I made this one thing different, which didn't make any sense. So I said, because I made one choice. This is a priority, and I'm gonna see it through and go from there. You guys have a great day. Thanks for listening.